Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'll be talking about a question that I was asked back in winter quarter, which was actually about my education in fall quarter. And it was, how did I reconcile my beliefs with evolution? In fall quarter I took a class called Majors Biology, Ecology, and Evolution, and it's the first in the biology series for anyone who really wants to go into like pre-med or go into any of the sciences. I'm majoring in chemical engineering, and so I wanted to take it, or I needed to take it. So anyways, I actually never saw a divide between God and science. Usually you'll find that in many atheistically driven science-based documentaries or movies or talks is that they want to divide the spirit from the physical realm, and actually I see the spirit as the driving force of the physical realm. I read things about quantum physics. I haven't taken any classes on quantum physics, so I'm not as qualified to talk about it, but I've questioned a lot of things about the physical realm and how we're moved by energy, and the more I read about quantum physics, the more I read about neuroscience, the more that I find that the spirit realm is what drives the physical realm. And so I've never seen a divide between God and science. I believe that the parallel structures that I find in all living things are of a common designer, not a common ancestor over all things, though that could be like for certain phyla, there could be a common ancestor, but I don't believe that every single animal came from one genetically common ancestor of that was like the bony fish or whatever. Um, and so this is what leads me to what Dr. Caroline Leaf, a cognitive neuroscientist, would say, and it's that science is finally catching up with the Bible, and I believe that scientific fact is reliable when it lines with God's word. And I'm reading from my notes because it's hard to memorize everything in my head. There are a lot of Christians who say that science proves the Bible, and while that sounds good, I believe it's the other way around, where it's actually the validity of God's word, which supports scientific analysis. And I won't talk a lot today about evolution or what I see in parallel structures, because I wanted just to make an overview video on my opinion, and while I'm just going to make lots of claims without supporting them, which isn't really what you're supposed to do in science, I will do those. I will support my beliefs in other upcoming videos. Um, I believe that both Christians and non-Christians ask the same questions and they're searching for the same things, but our answers are different. And I believe that the Christian answer is the right one, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't have conversations with Darwinists or atheists, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't analyze under the theories of evolution, because I can, and I've done it successfully. I don't believe the theory of evolution is an unintelligent theory. I just believe it's wrong, but I don't think it's unintelligent. There has been much support for it. There's lots of data to support it, and it's been presented logically, and that's why so many people believe it, because um, atheists and evolutionists are willing to have the questions, and they're willing to ask questions and dig deeper to find the answers. And there are a lot of Christians out there who will just take God's word, and it is right that we believe it is right that we have faith in God's word and we believe it and we just take it, take His word for it. But there's nothing wrong with questioning, like it says in Proverbs. It's God's glory. It's the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings to reveal a matter. I think I have that switched around, but it's in Proverbs. Um, and it's good to keep on questioning, because I've never seen a phenomenon that God has made that wasn't scientifically supported. Like in Egypt, when when the firstborn males died, my professor actually explained it to me, and I don't think he's Christian, but there was like a germ in the wheat, or there was something in the yeast, something like that, and and for firstborn sons, you would give them more. So when there was a disease in the food, then all the firstborn children died, but not the children of Israel, not the firstborn sons of Israel. And if you remember, none of them had yeast. Don't quote me on that it was yeast. Find it yourself. I'll try to find it, but don't just take my word for it. You gotta question all the time. And I think that the difference between our beliefs, between Christians and non-Christian beliefs, is that in God there is purpose, justice, freedom, and love in the answers that we find. But in atheistic answers, they seek to divide the mechanical explanation from its spiritual identity. You can already tell I'm very biased towards there as being a spiritual driving force to the physical realm. I believe that the spiritual realm is the primary realm, and that this physical appearances that we have here are merely shadowy reflections of what actually is happening. There's a more real reality that's going on that we cannot see because we cannot perceive it with our natural eyes. But there's a lot of electrical activity, and we can talk about that for hours and hours and hours. Um, and so it's actually my deep faith in God that causes me to question things. I've doubted my faith plenty of times in my life, and every time I've doubted, I've sought I've sought answers, and it's through those answers that I become closer with my God. It's not that I'm losing my faith; it's that I'm strengthening it. And this is actually what leads me to what my professor told us, is that in the theory of evolution, there is so much support for it that we do not doubt the phenomenon, and that is 100% exactly what faith is. There is so much support for it that you do not doubt the phenomenon, like with Jesus. There is so much support. We have the Gospels, and we have plenty of people. There have been plenty. There's been much scrutiny over um, the validity of the Gospels. And I believe that because of the Gospels, we can support that Jesus existed, um, and that he was the Son of God when he performed miracles, when he was born of a virgin, when he died and rose again on the third day. All of those are data which support the fact, or which support the hypothesis, that Jesus was the Son of God. And because there was so much support, I do not doubt that Jesus is the Son of God. So similarly, we can talk about this in science, where like I'm majoring in chemistry, so you can talk about s, p, d, and f suborbitals, and how we can have sp, sp2, and sp3 suborbitals. And I can just take that, I can just say, okay, I believe that's true, that there are suborbitals out there. But I've actually questioned it, like, how do you know that there are orbitals? We don't even have microscopes that would go that could actually see an orbital. What is an orbital? What is a bond exactly? How can you tell something's double bonded? Like if you have a carbon-carbon double bond, how can you tell it's double bonded? Well, it has fewer hydrogens than a single bonded carbon. Well, that would make sense. So that you could count hydrogens, but then the bonds, a pi bond is just, or the reflection, or fewer hydrogens are just a reflection of a double bond there. And so, um, while we cannot physically see, or while we cannot completely quantify the fact that there are double bonds, or there are s, p, d, and f orbitals out there, there's plenty of data which support it. You can say that if you have a p orbital, so it looks like a dumbbell, in inorganic chemistry, you can say, well, there's a d orbital in a metal which kind of looks like a flower, and you can, so like you have the d orbital, and then you move it to the p orbital, and they can come together and almost look like a pi conjugated system, and that's how they bond. And I learned that from one of my old professors. He's an inorganic chemist, and when you see the fact that the metal reacts with the organic portion and produces a green or a pink substance, um, then you know the reaction happened, and it's because of that observation, and you try to explain it with the mechanism of the orbitals, that um, that it drives you to believe that orbitals do exist. And so there is so much support for the fact that there are orbitals that we do not doubt the phenomenon of the existence of orbitals. So that's all I have to say about my beliefs right now. I can talk about other things. I will talk about light and how it is like Jesus. Because basically I was listening to a sermon when my general chemistry professor was talking about light for the first time. So that's all I have to say. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to try to explain, I'll do that to the best that I can. And give me hard questions, because I really like hard questions. I like trying to explain because it makes me smarter. Right, guys? Have a good day. Bye.